Let's get into it. Let's talk about that rematch that's about to happen. We got that man Nasty Nas from Queens, and we got that man Jay-Z, the Jazzy J, coming all the way from Brooklyn. This is what I love. This is what I'm talking about right now. I want to hear some real New York hip-hop. I want to hear some New York geriatric senior citizen hip-hop. Nah, that ain't no shot. Y'all know what it is. And y'all New York people, y'all can take it because y'all get on each other all the time. Now, people out here talking about the likes of Jay-Z trolling Nas every time Nas has an album release, every time Nas does something artistically. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute, hold on. These are two black men. These are two black men that are moving into elderhood. These are two black men that they have survived a lot of things. Well, how about this? You sit your Maya Angelou ass down and shut up. We talking about hip hop right now. Made a post on Twitter. I said artistically, Jay-Z still has not surpassed Nas. Whoa. Little did I know that so many Hovengers out there were gonna come at my neck. And they called me a Nasirian. I said, I'm out here just talking like you all. I'm just calling the gameplay. We kicking the breeze. We get in the booth, we talk about this. It's no difference if we're gonna argue about LeBron and Kobe, if we're gonna argue about MJ, if we're gonna argue about Vince Carter, if we're gonna argue about AI. That's how I look at the landscape. So me personally, I do feel on a different level, both of these men have something unique to offer to the game. Nas is a practitioner of the craft just like Jay-Z. Nas gives you that Langston Hughes flow. You close your eyes while Nas is rapping. You can almost smell the conch cream in Detroit Red's hair. Jay-Z on the other hand, the entrepreneurial spirit, you close your eyes, you can almost smell the millions upon millions of dollars raining in on your head. So you're talking about the street poet Nasty Nas, and then you got the street hustler that made it to the suites, the executive suites. Both are incredibly inspiring stories. For where Jay-Z came from, it's unbelievable. It's incredible. This is why he keeps rapping about it. From what Nas has witnessed over time, what he has been able to have the gift to be able to articulately reminisce over time. He's been able to transition smoothly into this level of the game. If you think about the likes of Takeoff and Young Dolph, and you go through the history of the Big L's and the Tupacs and the Biggie Smalls, you think about these rappers and how long they get a chance to live, how long they don't get a chance to live. Of course, when you're looking at these two redwood oak trees in hip hop, this is something incredible. But not only that, these two men, I don't care what anybody says, they got involved in the greatest rap battle in hip hop. And we're talking about getting it on both ends. See, a lot of people like to bring up No Vaseline. No Vaseline is one of the top diss tracks in hip hop. But NWA versus Ice Cube does not substantially qualify as a battle, especially when the dopest nigga leaves the group. So it's really just Ice Cube in his Jerry curls, keep spinning around on the block, pulling drive-bys on Dr. Dre, MC Ren, and then Eazy-E. But if you're talking about a real battle, that's exactly what we got with Nas and Jay-Z. There was a lead-in, there was a Stillmatic freestyle, there was Nas sniping at the little homie Memphis Bleek. There's Memphis Bleek sitting down on Vladimir Putin's couch, saying I got the big homie into some mess. No, the backstory is that Jay-Z and Carmen and Nas, they were in a throuple. That's the backstory. And once that got out the way, you know who did, you know what, well, you know who. Let's just keep that between me and you. Oh my goodness. The last time we heard a rapper antagonize another rapper on track through the box was with the late great Tupac Amaru Shakur, where he was getting at Biggie's neck. So of course, people at the time, they said, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? Who is he talking about? Me and the boy got more in common, AI. But it didn't matter though, cause at that time Nas was Stillmatic. Nas was glowing red like Bruce Leroy in The Last Dragon, ironically the same color scheme on Stillmatic. I'm still at it, Stillmatic. Still real, rest in peace, Ill Will. Jay-Z was looking like the man at the time with them ugly Bronco jerseys. That's right, Jay-Z was coming up. This is the first time Jay-Z's being looked at as a solidified contender of the crown. Jay-Z had come a long way. Just being seen as an extra in a Biggie Smalls video. Just being seen as a fourth-rate hack coming out of New York. Trying to figure out what the hell single works on a radio-friendly competition. He dropped the classic Reasonable Doubt, and he said you lames dumbed out. I personally feel Reasonable Doubt is one of the greatest masterpieces in hip-hop. But at that time, when everybody was on their stuff, come on, it was East Coast, West Coast. You know, it's Tupac rapping around talking about Versace. Biggie Smalls with the Coogee sweater, Count Cash, Frank White. People were looking for radio hits. You had the Fugees out there singing in movie theaters. So there was a different era in hip hop that when Reasonable Doubt dropped, it just fell to the bottom. Still a great album. Now keep in mind, Reasonable Doubt did not go platinum. Around that time, Nas was still dropping some heat. He actually moved into commercialization more successfully than Jay-Z at the time. I know for a lot of people today, they don't understand that, but if you do your research, you check out your hip-hop history, know LeBron James, Nas was able to transition into commercial success a lot better than Jay-Z in '96. He had It Was Written. It sold over 2 million records. He had the lovely Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World, which became a classic. Now, Nas had some personal things take place behind the scenes throughout his career. People was bootlegging his stuff. This is how we get I Am and Nostradamus. There's supposed to be a double disc album. It would have been a classic. Get rid of some singles here and there. Both of them are slept on projects. But you gotta remember, around that time, the bootleg culture started kicking up and up and up and up, especially when it came to hip hop urban music. Somebody get Leo Cohen on the phone. So Nas takes a sabbatical. He had issues going on with the lovely Ann Jones, God bless the dead. At this point in time, the hip-hop iconosphere was changing. Jay-Z was being seen as something to be looked at. He had Big Pimpin', he already had a couple of radio commercial successful hits, and now he felt like I got it. Now I need the artistic praise. Jay-Z had Big Pimpin'. Jay-Z had Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, not necessarily one of my favorite Jigga songs, but there were other records that Jay-Z was able to solidify himself in the commercial space. Can I get a what? You had Foxy Brown. But you had a lot of things that helped Jay-Z raise his profile in the culture of hip-hop. Now Jay-Z needed to spin the block back around to get that critical acclaim that he got on Reasonable Doubt minus the commercial success. And that's how you get Fat Neck Kanye West and video game nerd Just Blaze, two of the greatest producers in hip-hop. The Blueprint drops. But in the meantime, there's so many slick bars going back and forth. There's issues taking place in the background. There's Carmen, there's Jay-Z, there's baby mamas, alleged children. There's a lot of things taking place. Nas is observing all of this, using his dark Virgo energy. So what is this? Nas had to lay low, he had to analyze and see what was taking place. You had Memphis Bleak with his Made in China do-rag under the Made in China Brooklyn fitted hat, taking shots at the Golden Child. Nas threw some slugs back on Nostradamus, and then Jay-Z entered the ring, especially after Nas did the Stillmatic freestyle over the Paid in Full beat, which he masterfully murdered. And then we know the history of Takeover, and then the Clapback Ether, and then the weaker Clapback with Super Ugly. Now, Jay-Z has said on several records, including on the Blueprint 3, that he got stronger after Ether. Okay, fine, we can argue that. Nas has gotten stronger after Takeover. He's gotten solidified in the game because not only did Nas influence Jay-Z, but the vice versa happened too. Because it didn't always have to be about and keep reminiscing about 1988. I've never been there. But Nas got educated on the entrepreneurial side of the game. You know what he said? You know what? It's time for me to go ahead and elevate my real estate profile. It's time to elevate my business acumen. And that's exactly what he's been doing. That's something that Jay-Z has been notably celebrated for since Blueprint, even since Reasonable Doubt. People talk about 444. He just got on this kicking knowledge shit. He said the same thing on Reasonable Doubt. The only difference is he went to the same barber as J. Cole now. Now he's on this Basquiat stuff. But Nas still exists. You know, we've seen some of the competitive forces for the likes of Jay-Z mysteriously and interestingly enough or karmically dwindle away. Jay-Z and LL Cool J had a beef. LL didn't get his masterful I Bid You Adieu Black Album send off like Jay-Z has done and was able to come back actually. We saw it took place with DMX over time. His career, even his health deteriorated. God bless the dead. He still had a chance to upright himself before he got up out of here. We saw what happened with Biggie Smalls and Tupac Amaru Shakur, Big L, and then Mace. Mace is a very important key that I had to get into it on another particular video. Jay-Z on the other side of the game has been able to survive each one of these particular men in an era of transcendence. A magic tall elf is what Jay-Z is. Nas on the other hand has actually clashed with a lot of these people. Clashed with Tupac, clashed with Biggie Smalls, had his run-ins with some of the other people as well. So Nas typically, as far as his bouts are concerned, has a little bit more of an interesting tapestry and and a mythological career. Not to say that Jay-Z doesn't have anything special with his career, but when you get to Nas and East Coast Death Row, you start getting into these other spaces, and Tupac calling Nas on one of his classic posthumous albums, The 7 Day Theory, Nas the ringleader. I mean, you just get into something else differently with Nas. It's kind of nasty. Like he said, name a rapper that he ain't influenced, and he has influenced Jay-Z. But even in return, Jay-Z has had some influence on Nas as well, where Nas has been able to move more masterfully in the material world because Jay-Z, as a billionaire rapper, the first billionaire active rapper, has shown the industry and their culture how you do this shit. Now, ever since then though, even though Jay-Z said he's gotten stronger after Ether, nonetheless, Jay-Z has consistently been releasing and trolling Nas around the time of Nas's releases. I can think back when Nas released a very slept-on masterpiece with Damian Marley, Distant Relatives, a collaborative effort by both parties that what people were looking forward to at the time, and it did not disappoint. The album artistically did not disappoint. Only a year later, people, Jay-Z releases his duet album with Kanye West called Watch the Throne. Nas released Stillmatic. December 18th, Jay-Z released the Unplugged album as well. November 30th, in 2004, Nas dropped Street Disciple. Then of course, Jay-Z drops Collision Course. Nas dropped Greatest Hits on November 6th, American Gangster on the same day, Here Comes Hove. Nasir, remember Nasir was also having a release on Tidal on June 15th of 2018, but it mysteriously had a glitch in the system, and then Here Comes Jay-Z and Mrs. Carter dropping on June 16th of 2018, Everything Is Love. And then you gotta get to July 19th, The Lost Tapes 2, which I slept on at the time, and I remember listening back to it. I said, oh, this is a good ass album. But nonetheless though, Beyonce and Jay-Z drops Lion King, right? Now, if you told me that was just a coincidence, you a lying ass king. But of course, Nas paying attention to all of this, and he at the front like he was on the Naked Club in Hot 97. He acted like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't get it. Nah, that's Jay. You know Nas does all of that black Italian shit he does, right? I don't know what you're talking about, because you gotta play it down. But Nas is very calculating. Ladies and gentlemen, Nas has been taking shots since Magic. Meet Joe Black. The City Is Mine. Who got a song called The City Is Mine? Now some people may say you on your Mr. Fantastic shit. That's a reach. That's just okay. Fine. But recently Nas dropped a single from King's Disease 3 called Quincy and Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, Nas is on there taking all types of subliminal shots. And remember, these two are legends in the game. They have mastered the art of language in media when it concerns music. This ain't no Drake stuff. People always talk about Drake is great with the subliminals. He's kindergarten level. You gotta get into that space when you're doing subliminals. You gotta get into that Jigga space. You gotta get into that nasty Nas direct subliminal space as well. Come on now. Nas is getting at Jay-Z's neck. He says, you want to troll me, and this is what makes Nas Nas. Jay-Z is doing all of the dancing and the charades, and oh, I'm just trolling you. And every time you drop an album, every time you drop a single, I'm here to steal your thunder. If it's a single with me and FOREAL, or if it's me bringing my wife, I'm going to troll you. But Nas does something interesting. He claps back with All Black Audemars. You claim yours was one of one with Timepiece Monsters. Every season we be on the hunt. Jeepers Creepers, America's a baby that's teething, shitting on itself, crying for its next feeding. But Nas says, All Black Audemars, you claim yours was one of one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. You can't be LeBron James and a hip-hop historian. You gotta be Prince Solomon hip-hop historian. You gotta dig into the crates. Clearly Nas is making a clapback, and he doing his own trolling on racks though. He's letting Jay-Z know, like, if I troll, I'm gonna troll through these lyrics. If you go back to Jay-Z when he had the song off of Blueprint 2, which was it's a Masamados album. I'm gonna get into my Jay-Z voice real quick. Audemars Piguet with the alligator strap. Sick of y'all niggas with your now later raps. Rap about it now, hope you get it later. Do a couple of shows, hope you niggas is saving up. I show you how to do this, son. But this particular watch be of one, that means none before and none to come. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we have a competition here. And I predictiate this, that Jay-Z will be responding to the little homie from Queens, that Jay-Z is not going to, under any circumstance, let this fly. Of course, he's been trolling, but also this is what Jay-Z wants. He also, think about it, of course he gonna want that Joe Frazier Muhammad Ali rematch. People on Twitter crying with their limp wrists. Oh, why can't we talk about both? Why can't they both just be celebrated? Ladies and gentlemen, this is still hip-hop. These two gentlemen come from a hyper-competitive era of hip-hop. They don't come from an era in hip-hop where everybody gets a trophy. They don't come from an era of hip-hop where Pusha T puts Drake into the casket and Drake comes out the casket talking about his ex's husbands and calling them groupies. They don't come from that era. They come from an era of competition. So of course, Jay-Z will be returning fire. He may even be pulling up with Mrs. Carter in the whip. It's alleged, there's a rumor out there that the third and final act in the Renaissance trilogy, another trilogy ironically, that it may include a collaborative effort album from the Carters. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about this. Be sure to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. This is your man, Prince Solomon. I am out. Peace.